Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Sunday, March 10th. Got a coffee. So I thought today we'd talk about it's that time of year again where we're about ready to get busy, right? So, what are the things that we should be looking at? I know what I should be looking at. And as we go through it, maybe there's certain things that you are contemplating that maybe I haven't looked at that would add to the video. So in the comments, if I've missed stuff that you think is important, please put it there. But stay tuned and we'll get right into it. Alright, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And this channel is all about a little bit of everything. Now, you would think that it should be the majority of small engine repairs, right? Because that's the shop name that I have in Northern New York Parts. But I think that in business, you have to have a well-rounded life. And that means you can't just be great at business and suck at your home life, if that makes any sense. Because I can tell you from experience of when things are troubled water to home, they do gravitate towards the working environment, right? And sometimes it's hard to cross lines. And one of the biggest things that I see with a lot of, budding entrepreneurs is the amount of time they spend trying to grow their business. And it does take time. It's time consuming. And it's usually taking away from time with the family and doing things together. Whether it be pee-wee, oh, I'm too busy, I'm working. You use the business as an excuse to avoid these other things. And I think if you want to be really good at business, you need to have a well-rounded facade. That means your personal development, your personal growth has to be there. You have to be in the game. Your mindset has to be, on its game. And that means having a great relationship with your partner and your kids and being there. Not just being there, but actually partaking. And a lot of times we get confused. The lines get blurred. And I'm here to unblur them. And that's what I do during my weekday and my sermons usually on Saturday and Sunday. Is to try to give you that leg up. Take a look at it this way or that way and see if that will help you. So on to the video here on our busiest time of the season is coming up. So what are the things that most of you are probably looking at right now if you have a shop already? And that's pre-season orders. And a pre-season order doesn't have to be a $20,000, order. Your sales rep for that business wants you to spend 20 grand, but it doesn't need to be that. It could be just the bare bones. And if I'm going to invest in anything long term, what's it going to be? Well, we need oil filters. And you have basically, 3, maybe 4 that cover all the major engines. Your Honda, John Deere, Kawasaki, your Briggs & Stratton, low profile, large profile, and the large profile fit the Kohler too. You didn't know that, did you? Yes. And you can use aftermarkets. The ones that are coming from Stens and Rotary are perfectly fine. You don't need OEMs unless your customer demands that, right? So we need to look at oil filters, right? Fuel line. You don't need a ton of fuel line, but you need to have air and have it present. And you want the different sizes, 1/4 inch for your lawnmowers and then right down to the small for your trimmers. And a lot of times, like, see, we sell, like for trimmers, we sell the gas tanks, and they already come with a fuel line in them, with the filter in the jug. So if we just have to replace the fuel tank, we replace the fuel tank. And most times we get the majority of those from Home Light, from Gardner Canal. Alright, so that comes to the next thing. Fuel filters. There's about 3 or 4 different types of fuel filters, and there is a difference when it comes to fuel filters. And it's the mesh. How much fuel it allows to go through that filter at any given time. Personally, I would stock. We use basically one filter when it comes to all the larger items. Your lawnmowers that had the bigger fuel filter in it. The older equipment, they had the real small one. We carry some of those in stock because you can use those on rototillers and swishers and all them other ones. But we use the big filter on the swishers too. So we've got oil filters, fuel line, spark plugs. I would carry probably 4 to 8 of the 3 top ones, like the RJ19s, the 12s, and then the 8s for the chainsaws and trimmers and stuff like that. You're going to hit some of them, like the Tory Builts. They come out with a really small plug, and it's such a different plug that even the aftermarkets aren't carrying that plug yet. We get that at our local automotive parts store, and they're an independent, so they get aftermarkets through the auto, and usually I can have it the next day. And then you have the air filters. What do you stock for air filters? Most of the time, you can blow out the air filter on your customer's machine. You don't need to swap it out. Air filters will last a couple of years. So I don't encourage you to carry a lot of them. I mean, if you're seeing a lot of the same engines with the same filter, maybe if you have one of each on hand. But I don't go crazy on that. I got a whole wall right full of filters. And some of them are discontinued now. They don't even use them anymore. So I'm trying to keep you from overbuying and buying stuff that you really don't need, and investing in stuff that you're going to use and get a quick return on it. So air filters is not top of my list. Alright, so we got fuel filters, fuel line, oil filters, spark plugs, oil. How much oil should you have in stock? Now, if you're just starting out, you're probably going to buy it as you need it. And this is totally my pick. It's not what you have to do, and it's not what's required, even with the older stuff. But I buy all the synthetic oil now. I don't buy any non-synthetic. There's no sense of carrying both of them in the shop. The synthetic is a lot better for the engine, even the older ones. So I rely on the 10W30. And Walmart carries a ton of it. You don't have to go buy Napa or, top shelf stuff. The simple stuff that Walmart carries in their own brand is perfectly fine. And 10W30 is pretty much the standard right across the board. What else do you need? Alright, you need a grease gun, and you want to make sure you have 1 or 2 tubes of grease on hand. I buy it by the case, but I have a dual purpose, because as the summer heats up, that means it's time for us to start cutting hay and doing round baling for my beef cows. So I go through a lot of grease. Grease is cheap fix than having a unit broke down because it's lacking lubrication. So those are the big things that I see on the table. And you don't need a ton of it. You could spend less than $500 to get all that in bulk and into your shop and have you ready to go. And then the other stuff as needed. I carry a lot of lawnmower blades, the common ones. I carry a lot of carburetors. But let me tell you something. A lot of the carburetors I'm still sitting on for the lawnmowers, I bought through Stens. And some of them are 7, 8 years old. And they're no longer being used. So you can get into the situation that if you buy too much of having the prices drop like they did, and now you've got twice as much invested into that carburetor as you can get it online, right? So you got to be careful. You got to walk that fine line of inventory and excessive inventory. Some things that are hot last year are not hot this year, if that makes any sense. Because you used to be in business. You based your upcoming season on the last season you had, right? How many filters you use, oil, fuel. But you can't do that anymore. And we've had this discussion before of customers wanting to bring the parts to you and then just pay your labor. That's totally up to you. My shop, no. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because normally my customer goes out and buys the wrong part. And then we're stuck waiting longer to get that part in. So think long and hard before you let your customers start bringing the parts to you, because they're trying to save money. And they're the same ones that are going to be finicky about your bill. Why did you do this? Or why did you do that? How come it took you so long? You don't need that. Pick up and drop off. It's a flip of the quarter, okay? Heads, tails. We do pick up and drop off, and that is to basically help our customers out. It's the ease of convenience. And when I say ease of convenience, we just ask them to have them where we can see them. Or like a lot of them will tell us, Eric, they're in the garage, just open the garage door and get it. They trust us that much, and that means a lot to me because I want my customer to trust me. And I will be always 100% honest with my customers. That's how you run a good, successful business that lasts the stay of time, that I know a lot of shops that don't. It's a one-man band. They don't have time to go out and get the equipment. And the time that they're out, they're not working on stuff at the shop, right? If you're lucky enough to have a yard full of stuff to work on and paying customers, then I probably wouldn't encourage pick up and drop off. But in our case, sometimes it's feast or famine. Most times it's feast or famine. Is that with offering the pickup, we're bringing in enough work to keep us busy. And it used to be two of us would go on a pickup because both of us are getting up in years, right? Trying to push a dead lawnmower onto a trailer. So one of the things that we did this winter was we started mounting winches even on our smaller trailers so that one guy can go. It's a little 3,500 pound winch. We use a jump box to power it, and instead of cable we put the rope style on it. It's a thin wide band. You don't get the slivers all over your hands like you do with the cable. Cable frays. And now one guy can hook it to the front of the lawnmower and then work its way up. Or since it's a remote control, we have two different ones. We have the manual that you have in the box on the front of the trailer. And then you have the handheld remote that you can hop on the lawnmower and just, forward, backwards, however you want to do it. So that's something to think about. But you need to have shop work coming in a steady flow. And I think we're doing the pickup and drop-offs. If you can do it in such a way that you're going to be in this neck of the woods this week and then that neck of the woods next week, so that we have a lot of trailers. I have a lot of trailers. And the one that I like to go with the most is my 18-foot tandem axle bumper hitch. And the reason I like that is I like to fill it so that when it's full, it comes back. There's quite a bit of work on that trailer. And we're getting it all from one area. Because I'll look in certain areas and find my customers from last year and say, we're going to be there Tuesday. Is there somewhere we can get at it? And we don't charge the customer a lot for pickup and drop off, basically to cover the fuel and the time. Other than that, now along those lines, another option is, if you have the truck and trailer available, is there's a lot of retirees that are looking for extra part-time work. And if you have the winch systems all set up, then you can do that. You can have them do the pickup as well as the drop off. And it's not taking you out of the shop or your mechanic out of the shop. And usually someone that is retired is not looking for top dollar, and you don't have to do, payroll and everything else. It's simply you pay the guy for his time and you get the equipment here and get it back. That's one option if you have your own truck and trailer. If you don't have your own truck and trailer, it makes it a little more difficult to try to go that way. But that's one option that you can look at. So that brings us to customers. Now, some of you may be contemplating, or maybe have been asked, about doing commercial accounts. And what do I mean by commercial accounts? I mean like Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Walmart, just to name a few. See, a lot of times when the unit comes back to those big box stores, it's operator error, okay? And it's not warranty. And in one of my videos, I discuss warranty. And 85 to 90% of the stuff that we see is non-warranty. The customer wants it to be warranty, but it's not warranty. Hitting a steel pipe in your yard with your blade and busting a spindle and making your blade in a U-shape is not covered under warranty. That's customer stupidity, not warranty. And Lowe's, Tractor Supply, and Home Depot are the three top. And Walmart, they are the top that they know it's not warranty. And they're going to have to self-warranty. And they take it back, because a lot of corporate policy is the customer is always right. Take it back, give them their money back. And I've seen with one that if the manager knows that someone's abusing that policy and says no to them, if they go complain to corporate, they not only get their money back, they get the unit for free. How asinine is that? But that's how some of these corporate policies are. So before you decide to take out a corporate account, there's some things that you need to know. Is that the tendency is they're slow pay. Okay? Some can take 30, some are 60, net and 30, net and 60 after you have submitted the bill. The best one probably is Tractor Supply. They get back pretty quick. But each one of them requires that you do a different form, a different style invoice. Walmart, they usually call when they have a truckload. Tractor Supply is a hit and miss. But the bigger stores that are farther away, they know that I want a trailer load, because if not, I'm going to start trucking on each piece of equipment that goes onto that trailer. But in the same token, it usually is pretty decent extra money, keep you busy, and with us, I mean, I can sell whole goods, riders, push mowers, zero turns, what have you. We are still a Cub Cadet dealer, Troy-Bilt dealer, I can go on and on. But I chose years ago, instead of competing with the likes of Amazon, online sales, and the big box, to stay out of that department and just do the repair part of it and the parts part of it. Alright, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. Pre-season order doesn't have to be $20,000. Could be under $500. Could actually be under $300 if you do it right. And it doesn't have to be all done at one time. You can carry 3 or 4 of the different oil filters, and then as you use them, replace them. Or in our case, I buy them by the case. That we use them enough that I go through a couple cases easily of each per year. Fuel filters, I can give you a part number from Rotary that we use on all of our bigger equipment. Even the Kawasaki engines, which are the most finicky when it comes to comes for fuel flow through the fuel filter. Plugs, again, there's 3 top that you probably should keep a few of them on hand. I know you, Jason, you said you get them cleaned up, and changing the spark plug isn't always needed, but in our shop, it's just part of the service. We change both spark plugs, whether they need it or not, and that way, it just saves headaches throughout the summer. That we want our customer to have a carefree summer of no breakdowns. Makes us look good. It's less work, but it makes us look good. Air filters, hit or miss. There's 3 top out there. I can go into that if you guys want me to, but you don't really need to have all the air filters in stock because you can blow out most air filters. You don't need to replace an air filter every year. Oil, 10W30, synthetic, Walmart brand is fine. Your hydrostatic transmissions, if you see a lot of them, which more and more are coming with them, you might want to carry some hydrostatic transmission oil on the shelf to add to the transmissions. The bigger the unit, the more it's easily or readily available. They'll have like a reservoir that you can keep topped off. And I keep track of my commercial guys that are running the hydro gear and the hydrostatic transmissions. Some have 2 motors, 2 pumps. Some have 1 pump, 2 motors. But I recommend to those guys, depending on if it's a heavy use, every year minimum. If it's a homeowner, every other year is fine. But just make sure that it's topped off. And with a lot of your low-end hydrostatic transmissions, there's a plug on top. And you can buy the plug kit from Hydro Gear, hydrostatic transmission plugs. Because most times you ruin them when you get them out. And you need to have one to put back in. Pick up and drop off. If you got a retired guy looking for some extra money, that might be a viable option. If you got tons of work and you're a one-man band, probably not feasible. Corporate accounts, it's a take or leave. It depends on how much business you have. And they want their stuff back quickly too. What I'm seeing more and more of with like Tractor Supply and Harbor Freight, they do their own, but I've seen a lot with them, is what they do is they discount it if it gets brought back for whatever reason, and they'll have it on a discount table out front instead of getting it fixed, saying, blah, 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 right? Well, hopefully this is kind of getting you guys ready for the coming season, for our mowing season. And I know there's stuff that I've missed. So if I miss something that you think is important, please put it in the comments. Travis, Jason, you guys are always helpful, very helpful. And that's greatly appreciated. So on that note, you guys have a great Sunday. Let's get into gear. Let's start working out. About that time, we're going to get busy. All right, guys. Have a great Sunday.